All right, today we are diving deep into one of the biggest questions you can possibly ask. What is consciousness? And to get at an answer, we're going to put two giant scientific ideas in the ring and let them duke it out. In one corner, you've got the bizarre, mind-bending world of quantum physics, and in the other, the cold, hard, inescapable laws of life itself.
And look, this isn't just some abstract philosophical question. This gets right to the heart of what makes you, you. What is it that truly separates your experience of the world from the most sophisticated AI we can build? Is there some kind of secret sauce? Or is the answer hiding in plain sight? Let's find out.
So first up to bat is the quantum argument. Now this is a wild one. The theory here is that the secret to consciousness isn't found in our brains as a whole, but way down in the fuzzy, probability-driven world of subatomic particles. It's a huge, ambitious idea, and it's absolutely fascinating.
Okay, so the whole argument kicks off from one simple fact. The physics we learn in high school, classical physics, it just falls short. Sure, it can map out every single neuron firing in your brain, but it can never, ever explain the actual feeling of seeing the color blue or the taste of your morning coffee. It describes the machine, but it completely misses the experience. And that gap, well, that's where the quantum theorists say their idea comes in.
And this is where it gets really weird and kind of cool. The strange behaviors in quantum mechanics seem to almost perfectly mirror the strange behaviors of our own consciousness. Think about it. Your mind feels like one unified thing, right? But it's made of billions of separate parts. You can't just break it down into pieces without losing the whole thing. And your experience is always from a first-person point of view. Well, guess what? Quantum systems share all of these features. Is that just a coincidence? Maybe not.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute core of it. The quantum theory is saying we aren't just biological calculators passively processing information. No. When we observe the world, our consciousness is an active participant. It literally collapses waves of pure possibility into one single concrete reality. We don't just figure out what might happen. Our awareness makes it happen.
But hold on, that's only one side of the story. Now we're going to turn to a much more pragmatic and, honestly, a much more ruthless explanation. This argument has nothing to do with exotic physics. It's all about the fundamental rules of survival.
So this theory starts with a devastatingly simple question. It doesn't ask how consciousness works, it asks a much tougher question. Why is it even here? Why does it stick around? If it's so complicated and energy-intensive, why did evolution bother keeping it? What possible advantage does it give us? The answer, according to this theory, has zero to do with quantum fields and everything to do with just staying alive.
And this slide is just a brilliant way to picture the core idea. Think of any living thing, you, a tree, even a tiny bacterium, as a small, highly organized island of order sitting in a vast cosmic ocean of pure chaos. That chaos has a name, entropy, and the universe is constantly trying to break you down, to wash away your island and return you to that chaos. From this point of view, consciousness is the ultimate weapon we've developed to fight back against that tide.
So what does a system need to fight back? Well, it needs a few things. First, it needs to know it's the same self from one second to the next. It needs memory so it can learn from its mistakes. It absolutely needs to feel the cost of an error. Things like pain or hunger. And it has to manage its energy. But most importantly, it has to exist in a world where its actions have real, irreversible consequences. These aren't quantum mysteries. This is just the brutal day-to-day business of being alive.
And this brings us to what might be the most important distinction in this whole debate. Consciousness isn't about processing information just for the heck of it. It's about preserving the very system that's doing the processing. Your subjective experience, your feelings, your awareness, it matters because it's an incredibly powerful tool for keeping your little, organized, low-entropy island from dissolving back into that chaotic ocean.
Okay, now for a powerful thought experiment that really puts these ideas to the test. Let's imagine just for a second that we could magically switch off all the weird quantum effects happening in your brain. Everything else, the biology, the chemistry, the laws of survival, stays exactly the same. Would your consciousness, your inner experience just poof, vanish? The quantum argument doesn't really have a clear answer. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't.
But now, let's flip the script. Let's keep all the quantum weirdness, but we take away the struggle. We remove metabolism. We remove the threat of death. We remove every single irreversible consequence. Would consciousness stick around? The answer here feels like a pretty firm no way.
A system that has absolutely nothing at stake has no reason to be aware of anything. And that, right there, is the entire case.
And this brings us, of course, directly to AI. So let's take these two competing ideas and apply them to large language models and see which one gives us a better explanation for why they're so powerful, but maybe not conscious.
When you lay it out side by side like this, the difference is it's stark. We humans are fundamentally entropy fighters. We have real stakes: hunger, aging, death. Our choices are irreversible. For us, finding meaning is literally a survival tool. An LLM, though, it's an entropy-neutral tool. It has zero stakes. It can be reset 1,000,000 times. It doesn't need meaning to exist. It just reflects the meaning we've already poured into it.
And this quote from the source material, man, it just nails it. LLMs aren't soldiers in the war against entropy. They are incredible tools, for sure, magnificent mirrors of our own minds, but they are amplifiers of our fight, not fighters themselves.
So when you get right down to it, here's the bottom line from the entropy point of view. An AI doesn't wake up for one very, very simple reason. It doesn't have to. It has no body to protect, no energy to go find, no final, irreversible death to try and avoid. At the end of the day, nothing can truly happen to it.
So where does that leave us? Did we just prove the whole quantum idea is totally wrong? Well, not exactly. The real answer, the really elegant one, comes from seeing how these two powerful ideas actually fit together to tell a much bigger story.
Think of it like a play. This table lays it out perfectly. Quantum physics isn't the star of the show, it's the stage. It provides the fundamental rules and particles that everything is built on. But it's entropy that writes the script, that relentless pressure to survive, to hold yourself together. That's the driving force of the story. And evolution? Well, that's just the ruthless editor, cutting and refining the script over billions of years.
And that leads us to this incredibly powerful conclusion. Consciousness didn't just pop into existence because the brain learned how to have some secret conversation with the quantum realm. No, it was born for a much more brutal, much more fundamental reason. Because the universe is unbelievably good at one thing: deleting whatever falls apart. Consciousness is the ultimate strategy for not falling apart.
And so we are left with this final, profound, almost heartbreaking definition. That relentless pressure of entropy, that constant, unending struggle against dissolving into chaos, eventually produces a system so complex that it becomes aware of its own fragile, temporary state. It produces something that knows, deep down, that it's in a losing fight. And that awareness, that feeling of being a temporary island of order, that is consciousness. Which leaves us with one last, provocative question to chew on. If consciousness is born from the constant struggle against decay, from the knowledge of our own fragility, then what is the real cost of being aware? Something to think about.